Long, long ago, somewhere on a hill, lived a villager. He was carrying a jar of oil as he was climbing up the mountain. He took a break when he was very tired. He sat down and set his oil jar on a rock near him. Another villager was walking down the mountain with his donkey that was laden with a big load of wooden sticks. Now, the donkey, which did not observe the oil jar on the side of the mountain, knocked it down by mistake. But the oil merchant was angry and he declared that the donkey's owner ought to repay him. The donkey's owner declared that, it was not really my fault. What do I do? So the two of them took their case to the king of the land. The king patiently heard both sides of the story, thought for a little while, and then declared, "Take away the donkey and the rock, put them in chains, and leave them in the prison. In 1 week from now, this case shall be heard in the court." The news of this spread far and wide, and people of the land were quite curious to know how a rock and a donkey could be tried in court. But they were so curious that they all came and thronged the court on the day the case was to be heard. On the day of the court hearing, once everyone was in, the king declared that the doors of the court should be closed. And then he rose from his seat and said, "Is there any sense or law by which a donkey and a rock can be judged? Why have you all come to see such an absurd thing like this, leaving behind all your work? But I am glad that you were all this curious, because now I can ask each of you to pay half a cent to this oil owner, and only then can you leave the court." The people in court smiled and handed over the money. The oil owner recovered all that he had lost. The donkey was returned to the villager. And this is a folklore called The Story of the Donkey and the Rock from a land called Tibet. I don't know how many of you have even heard of this place. It's a land full of high hills covered with snow for the most part of the year. And many years ago, once the Chinese began to occupy Tibet, people from this land left their high hills and have today settled along a range of hills in the Himalayas, dotting all the way from Ladakh in the north to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. In today's episode, we talk about a festival called Losar, the New Year festival celebrated by the Tibetan community. Hi, you're listening to What's New Today, a kids and family podcast, and I am Sangeeta from India, the host of this podcast channel. In this episode, I'm joined by a college-going student who has had the opportunity to witness Losar celebrations for the first time in his life.
Hello, my name is Puranjoy Bhattacharya. I am a second year undergraduate from Sikkim Manipal Institute of Technology in Sikkim.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome to this show, Puranjoy. It's such a pleasure to meet and talk to somebody from the northeastern part of India. So I know you're studying in Sikkim, but where did you do your schooling? Are you also from Sikkim?
No, I'm not from Sikkim actually. I'm from the northeast itself. I'm from Assam basically. I live in Tinsukia district.
Is the culture of people who are native to Sikkim very different to what you have seen in Assam?
The majority of population in Sikkim is basically Nepali people. They're culturally different.
So the language is very different also?
Language is a bit different. In Sikkim, most of the conversations are basically in English because we have students from all across India. There are people from south, there are people from north, east and west, from everywhere. But the friends sometimes they talk in Nepali. I can easily understand. If you are Bengali, then you can easily understand Nepali. It's not very difficult.
That's very, very interesting. So now I guess you're on a short vacation.
Yeah, I have a 2-day holiday for Losar.
Talking about this Losar festival.
Yes.
So have you seen this now in your college? Is this the first time you're seeing it? Have you seen it in Assam before?
No, I've not seen in Assam, but it's like celebrated in the higher altitudes where there is snowfall, where there is like variety of cultures live there, like the Tibetan people.
So only people who live higher up on the hills in Sikkim celebrate the Losar festival.
Yeah, it's basically Tibetan culture, right? So most of the Tibetan people, they live in higher altitude. They are not accustomed with the weather conditions below right here in where I live actually. There is no snowfall here.
The word Tibet itself means the land of snow, so we can understand why when the Tibetans moved from wherever they lived, they preferred living in the higher altitudes. So tell me, what have you seen about the festival so far, in your time in Sikkim?
Losar festival, it's like a traditional Tibetan New Year festival. It's the end of the harvesting season. It is the start of the new lunar calendar of the Tibetan, and they just enjoy the new year with that harvesting stuff.
So are there any special dances and songs that they perform for Losar?
Yeah, Losar is basically famous for its traditions, like the dance tradition, dance and the musical instruments. In Himachal Pradesh also, Tibetan people, they also celebrate this festival.
When the Tibetans came to India, right, as refugees,
Yeah.
they settled along the entire Himalayan belt, all the way from Ladakh,
Yeah, exactly.
Himachal,
Exactly.
Sikkim, and even in
Sikkim,
Arunachal, you'll find
Arunachal,
Tibetan
yes, yes.
refugees.
Yeah.
There's a very small contingent that also lives in the south in Mysore, because when the Tibetans first came to India, if I remember right, under Jawaharlal Nehru's government, they were given a large piece of land in Mysore. The Dalai Lama then requested the government of India, saying that we are so not used to this kind of a weather condition, so please give us a place up in the hills. So that's why there's a place called McLeodganj near Dharamshala in Himachal, which is where today the Dalai Lama himself lives. And a whole lot of Tibetans over there in McLeodganj. I think today, this entire festival, these 3 days, if you go to McLeodganj and Dharamshala, it will be like Diwali in the rest of India. There's a dance that I read about and I saw some YouTube videos called Gotur Cham.
Cham basically means the mask dance. There is a story behind this. Also, my friends have told me about this. That there was a king who lived across Tibet. So the king saw a dream of like celebrating this mask festival, mask dance. So he brought this culture into the New Year festival.
Oh, very nice. Interesting. Did you see one? Did you get scared?
No, the dance that I've seen in Sikkim, in my college itself, they just put up very beautiful faces. In the new year, you expect some new energy, new sort of thing to come into your home.
Oh, nice. So some of these masks are masks of pretty faces, not necessarily scary ones. Have you had any other interesting experiences?
So yak is basically one of the most famous animal if you come to Sikkim. Like there is one thing that you will never miss out in Sikkim is that riding a yak.
So how do you ride? Do you
yak
have to hold on to its horns, or do you hold on under?
No. There is a guide who is the owner of that yak. He just moves the yak around. You
It's
just
like
can't,
riding a horse.
Yeah, you cannot control that big animal. It's not possible.
I can imagine. Yeah. I've seen a yak. I think I've seen it in Ladakh, but I've seen it at a distance. Like I would not venture anywhere close to a yak if I can help it. Yeah, they dance with the yaks, is it?
Yeah, they dance with the yak and also paint their mask in the way the yak looks like. It's known as the yak charm.
Speaking of yaks, here are a bunch of jokes and riddles about them from 11-year-old Adya.
What kind of animal do you need in the Himalayas?
Something that can slide and have fun in the snow, like a furry dog.
A yak of all trades. What would you call a yak who is full of himself?
A narcissistic yak.
Egomaniac.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Okay, so what nursery rhyme do the yaks sing in the Himalayas?
Could it be Baba Black Yak, have you any wool?
I know, it's Yak and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water.
In my defense, I think even the Baba Black Yak was a brilliant nursery rhyme for the mountains.
Well, that's okay, and I have one last joke. What kind of car does a yak drive?
Yak sled.
A Ferrari.
Ooh, the fur on the yak. Cool. I loved all of them. And back to discussing some more interesting dance forms at the Losar festival in Sikkim.
Yeah, there is one last dance that I've seen in my college. This is one of my favorite dances, and this is called Singhi dance. The word itself says Singhi means the lion, singer. It is the snow lion dance. So, like, there are two people inside the snow lion. There is one commander who commands the two lions, and they just dance. In the first year itself, I was very excited because they just come near your face and like scream. It's very, very entertaining.
It is only entertaining, not scary at all.
No. None of the dances are basically scary. Right?
Oh,
so
that's nice.
Not very scary. Yeah. So most
Yeah,
of
but
them
I have
are
a
like.
question. This Singhi dance and
Yeah.
all the people who are inside the costume, right? Those are your
Yeah.
college friends, or are they trained
No.
performers?
No, they are trained.
I have a very important question for you. So I read
Yeah,
somewhere that the first day of Losar festival, you're supposed to clean your house completely and thoroughly, like how a lot of us do during Diwali. Did you clean your hostel room on the first day of Losar festival?
Honestly speaking, if you're living in a hostel, so it's very difficult to like clean.
Okay, I've got 3 quick trivia. Tell me what you know. The first question is the word Losar stands for New Year. True or false?
Yeah. I'll say true.
Yeah, you're playing it safe. It is true. The Lo means
Uh-huh.
new and Sar means year. Second question. The most popular color that people wear for a lot of Tibetan festivals is the color green. True or false?
I've seen many of the dances, many of the customs of Sikkim. Most of them are red in color.
Absolutely right. And the last question. The important food that they make for this festival is something that they make with yak's milk. True or false?
Yeah, I think they do it because, like, as I said before, yak plays a very important role in their life.
Awesome.
Did you like this quiz? For those of our listeners who've heard other episodes on What's New Today, you may have found this quiz a little different because usually the questions in the quiz are based on what I've already discussed with my co-hosts. But this time I just thought, why not ask my co-host based on what he has seen in Sikkim? That's it from us today. If you enjoyed listening to this banter between Puranjoy and I and loved hearing more about this Losar festival, please do share this episode, leave us a rating and a review because that's how we'll know how much you've truly enjoyed listening to these kind of conversations. Also remember to follow us and subscribe to this channel wherever you're listening to it. New episodes drop every Monday and Friday, and
Thanks for listening.